Hot off his cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine, a new rumor claims that Henry Cavill could join the Marvel Cinematic Universe as its next Wolverine. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com, and this rumor comes to us from Cosmic Book News. But before we get to that, it comes following Henry Cavill doing a cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine. Here is that cameo. If you want to watch it, I will have the link in the description below. But basically what happens is Deadpool comes in from behind. He sees the Henry Cavill as Wolverine taking care of his motorcycle. Some shots on Henry's bulging muscles. And Deadpool explains, the Cavillrine, the legends are true. And may I say, sir, on behalf of all humanity, this just feels right. We will treat you so much better than those people down the street. The Cavillrine responds, you were just leaving. He then deploys his claws in a similar fashion to the fist cocking that he does in Mission Impossible, and then sends Deadpool back into a TVA portal after he does indeed like a 1-2 punch on him. If you want to see that, clip in the link in the description below. Cavill also shared a photo from the scene and took a shot at DC editing out his Mission Impossible mustache while he had to do reshoots for Justice League when he was still playing Superman. And he says, to be safe, I shaved the mustache off for this one, just the mustache. So obviously he's got the rest of his beard there for his Cavillrine cameo. So following this cameo, we did get this rumor from Matt McGloin at Cosmic Book News. He reports that his Marvel insiders have informed him that Cavill, quote, might be up to play the character full-time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He added, Henry Cavill actually might be in talks to play the MCU's Wolverine. I hear similar to what he wanted for a return as Superman. He is asking for a lot of money to play Wolverine. And who can say no? He obviously is a big draw, I think. I think that people like to see him. He's kind of got shafted in a lot of his roles, but he does bring 100%. He is one of the best actors out there, and I think he would do really well for Wolverine. Clearly, I think Marvel does indeed have the money. This would be, I think, a huge boon for them if they do bring in Henry Cavill. It would definitely be at least one good statement saying they are trying to get rid of the woke, which rumors say that they are in the process of doing. And if they bring in Henry, I think that is a sign that that is exactly what they are indeed doing. Now, we do have some comments that Kevin Feige made ahead of the release of Deadpool and Wolverine, where he did discuss the future of Wolverine. This is what he said to Discussing Film. You know, Marvel is celebrating its 85th anniversary later this summer. That's just the first 85 years, and Disney just celebrated 100 years as well. I think these characters will be around for another 100 years, long after all of us. So for sure, there will be eventually another actor as Wolverine. I think it will be in a very different style and in a different way. I also think if somebody were to attempt to do a Hugh Jackman as Wolverine impression, that would be a pretty big mistake. So it's possible that many people might see what Henry did as a Hugh Jackman impression. I don't really see it. It's hard to know. I mean, he did his little fist cocking, which is what he did. That's what he did in Mission Impossible. Obviously, he's with the motorcycle as well. I know Hugh Jackman had his motorcycle in the original Fox films too. I think it was actually Cyclops' motorcycle that he took, right, as his own. But obviously, there's a little bit different things going on. Different look with the beard without the mustache. But I thought his voice was excellent for Wolverine. I think he would do a really good job just based off of that clip that I saw there. So Feige also said that Marvel Studios has no immediate plans to replace Hugh Jackman, who returned to the character for Deadpool and Wolverine. This is what Feige said. As comic readers know, there have been various and very, very different versions of these characters over the decades. It would be fun to explore different ones someday down the line. Again, we don't have immediate plans by any means, but in the decades to come, I think it's inevitable. If that happens, it would have to be a very different and bold reinterpretation of the character, because no one will be as great as Hugh Jackman at doing his version of Wolverine. So That is a very bold claim. I think we see this if you watch sports. Records are broken all the time. People are like, at the time, they're like, there's no way anyone's going to break that record. And then you wait 20, 30 years, someone does indeed break that record. I think the same thing is true for acting. Obviously, you're still going to have benchmarks of Hugh Jackman with Wolverine, but he also had some really bad movies as Wolverine too, right? I think there is room for people to improve on his interpretation of Wolverine. That's not to say I don't like it. I like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I think he does a really good job. I liked his old man Logan in Logan. I really liked his Wolverine in the Wolverine movie. I think that's probably the most underrated one. Obviously, he does a fantastic job in X-Men and X2. And then the brief cameo that we get in First Class is phenomenal as well. I love that brief cameo at the bar. I think that's probably like the most quintessential Wolverine. It's like the briefest we see of him, but I love that. So, I'm not, who's to say that someone can't do it just as good or even better? I think that is definitely the possibility. But obviously, Kevin Feige, he's got Deadpool and Wolverine coming out, and Hugh Jackman is in it. So he's going to prop up the guy who's playing Wolverine right now, right? So I get where he's coming from there. So we also have Henry Cavill having a very busy plate up in front of him here. He will be taking part in the upcoming reboot of Highlander, which they are talking about potentially turning that into a franchise with movies and television shows. That's coming from John Wick creator Chad Stahelski. Cavill is also the executive producer and is helming a Warhammer 40K universe at Prime Video. However, it's unclear if the Warhammer 40K project will move forward. There is some questions about this. We did get a recent update from Games Workshop, the company that owns Warhammer 40K, that said that if it fails to come to terms with Amazon on creative guidelines with the project, it could fall through. So if they don't come to terms by December, this is their actual update here from their annual report. Games Workshop and Amazon are working together for a period of 12 months ending in December 2024 to agree to creative guidelines for the films and television series to be developed by Amazon. The agreement will only proceed if the creative guidelines are mutually agreed between Games Workshop and Amazon. We will update you accordingly. So remember, this was all announced like back in 2022. So we're almost already 2 years out from this, and they still haven't come to creative guidelines. So let alone talking about even maybe writing a TV show or a movie. They haven't even come to terms with creative guidelines, and it looks like they have until December 2024. Obviously, that deadline could be extended if they want to continue to negotiate and bring that forward. But that is what we're already in August, the 8th month of the year, December, the 12th month. So we only got about 4 months to go before that date comes. So it's coming close. It's coming close. And what is interesting, though, is that Cavill might be in charge of a Warhammer Fantasy too, because under the terms of the agreement, Games Workshop has granted exclusive rights to Amazon in relation to films and television series set within the Warhammer 40K universe, together with an option for Amazon to license equivalent rights in the Warhammer Fantasy universe following the release of the initial Warhammer 40K production. So it's possible Cavill gets really busy with Warhammer 40K and Warhammer Fantasy if it does indeed get off the ground. But again, who knows if it's going to get off the ground? Obviously, one of those deadlines is December 2024. And then if you look at Cavill's IMDb, he's got some other projects on his plate, including Squadron 42, which is a video game set in the Star Citizen universe. I think that's some voice acting work, so I'm not sure how time-consuming that will be. There's also a third Enola Holmes film that is kind of in development, but I'm not sure if that's anywhere near to production. And then he's got this role of Don Tillman in a film called The Rosie Project. So he's got a lot of stuff kind of on his plate. But I would not be upset if he added Wolverine to that plate. But who knows when they're actually going to do X-Men stuff. I don't think we got any real X-Men announcements coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. It was mainly Doomsday and Doctor Doom, and then Secret Wars with Robert Downey Jr. I feel like those were the big announcements. Then I guess they had a presentation on Fantastic Four as well. And I think they probably did some Captain America Brave New World stuff, because I think I saw Harrison Ford up there with Anthony Mackie at one point. I'm sure there was some Thunderbolt stuff as well, but I don't think we've really gotten anything with X-Men. I definitely feel like that is where they need to go. That is Marvel's bread and butter. Before Marvel Studios really kind of made the Avengers like the biggest thing, X-Men was always the most popular thing at Marvel. I think the X-Men animated series really had a lot to do with that, as well as obviously the Marvel comics. Those were their bread and butter. That's a lot of what people really like when it comes to Marvel, and we haven't really gotten anything about that. So we'll see if indeed Henry Cavill signs a deal, becomes Wolverine. But I'm definitely interested in that, and I think that would be a good sign for the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel Studios. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.